Oh, we're live, Bo. We're live,
Oh,
pal. We're live, pal. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 423rd episode of the GeekVerse podcast. I am the hashtag Scott's been banned from Extra Life Trust now, and I'm joined by.
I am the Snips Taylor Field.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. I right now I'm wearing a tank top, but then right now that I have a robe on. I hate this time of year because it's just that spot where you can never be cold. Like it's not too cold yet, but it's not too warm either. It's a pain.
Pretty
What do you?
freaking cold. I don't know what you're talking about.
It's cold. I don't think it's that cold because then like right now when I'm wearing this, I'm like I'm getting too warm, and then when I take it off, I'm like it's too hot. So what are you
Mm.
wearing right now?
Pajama pants, t-shirt, and I'm doing this new style. Not like prep boy, but I even when
It
I'm at
is.
work, I
It's
love doing like the hoodie like this, and I'll even you know,
it's looking more like choir boy than prep boy.
no. Well, actually, they do dress like that, kind of.
So did you drop out or did I drop out there? Did I drop out for
I didn't
you?
see any dropouts for me. We're both in there, 100%.
So then I feel like it was me dropping out. So who knows? I might at some point switch over to another browser. I'm not sure. I don't understand. Shaw has been this past week has just been such a pain in the ass. This Wi-Fi, legitimately today, because Kirklin's convinced me now. I was starting to download Guardians and just like stopped downloading. I was like, oh great, just but
Oh,
I figured it out. I reset the router and everything. Just oh man, and then I had like such a terrible. Oh, I already told you. I'll say it for after 9, which is happening this weekend. That is, I should announce if you're listening to this newscast for people. That is Saturday, 8 a.m. PST. We're doing a morning one because we're super busy. So we apologize. We had to delay last time, and the November October stuff is always worse because like after November, it's good for us because we have Eternals, but then after that we have a few movies. We have Hawkeye, but there's like a nice break, and there'll be tons of content still. But it's still like just this like the Extra Life weekend. We have Eternals, and then we have Extra Life the next day, and then we have Dexter the next day. So it's like, and that always fucking happens to us. There's always some big movie during Extra Life, so it's always super busy. So yeah, we're gonna do a morning one. So Carl, I'm sure will be happy about that because I'm sure his time zone it's great. But Taylor, Phil, where can they find everything we do on the web, on the interwebs, everything where they can find all information and anything you want to? Yeah, maybe pimp out your other shows while I get some other stuff set up too.
yeah, basically anywhere on the internet in the search bar, GeekVerse.ca is our home base. GeekVerseCast is our Twitter. GeekVerse is our Facebook. Be sure to check out on our Facebook because you can see who won the fan base community Halloween poll. I'm not going to spoil it. I'm going to keep it as a mystery so you go and check out our social media. They've been inducted into the Hall of Fame. It's very juicy, and probably going to be doing a Christmas one here. But that doesn't mean Smash Bros is out of the question. That's definitely in the cards. As far as other shows, I don't really promote my other show, but my other main show I do, Cryptic Clues. Me and Ruben, you definitely know Ruben from Rod or Not, Geeks Creed. He's definitely made some appearances in the Geekverse Gauntlet. Me and him are spearheading this show, Cryptic Clues, and so far, we're well over 10 episodes. We have our 12th episode that just dropped today. Every Monday is a new Cryptic Clues episode, and today's episode is a very Halloween spooky one, focusing on the Rakes, the Pale Walkers, as not skinwalkers, but just like humanoid looking crawler things. Very, very spooky things. So check that out if you're into that kind of stuff. Again, crypticlues.ca. You can find us again on social media, and yeah.
I don't know why you're like, oh, I barely promote my other show. We've never once said, oh, we don't want you promoting Cryptic Clues.
No. I mean, like, I've barely promoted. Like, I've never actually like, hey, check out my other show. I just feel like, well, I'm here. Like, I gotta be geek first. So
No, it's fine. Well, look at our fucking podcast network. Everyone has like 10 million shows and stuff like that.
yeah.
No, because I guarantee you somebody's like, look, Travis will let him talk about his other shows. And what's your weekly solo GV show that you do?
All right. I should have started with that. That's Geekverse related. Every Wednesday is Chucky night. It's where I dive into reviewing the Chucky series. It's a good time. That'll be, new episodes drop Tuesday, but I get around to reviewing it every Wednesday. So be sure to tune in.
Yeah, I looked into it. I wonder what's going to happen because there's going to be some overlap with Hawkeye. So it's gonna
Is
be
there really? Well,
yes.
Chucky takes priority, obviously. So
Oh boy. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, we got lots of stuff popping off. Also got newscasts, the new era, 2 newscasts a week and reviews and stuff like that. November, we're gonna have tons of stuff. I will be doing a Dexter Retro. You can blame Kirkland because now we'll be doing a new review in the future. Stay tuned if maybe a certain Marvel video game that's about to drop. But Dexter, I'm 3 episodes away from finished final season. Fuck, it is a slog. It is such a slog. It's just so boring. But I'm gonna do those two, and I was gonna do it as a separate episode, but I think we may do it on news and maybe do it as a cutout. I wanted to do Dexter predictions, but I'm like, well, Taylor and Kirkland are gonna be watching it, so maybe I'll get you guys to do it, and we'll do it that way. So Dexter Retro is very near. Either you'll get 1 episode this week and 1 episode next week, or you're gonna get like a double header. Probably a double header because I have 3 days off. I always take the day off Halloween because when I don't, I just completely regret it. So I took it off. So I think this weekend I'm just gonna bang all these out, and then so you get that. November 6th, we're getting close. We're less than 2 weeks away. Extra Life, our 5th annual 24-hour charity stream. It's gonna be tons of fun. What do we got? We got the sports title. We got Harry Potter trivia. We got the Call of Duty Best of 5. We got the Mario Party Madness. We got the trivia battle, and we got the sports title. And if there's a head shaving, that's seven events. There's gonna be 7 events because we're gonna shave the heads. We have, I think, $150 raised right now. I'm very thankful we got anything raised. Very appreciate everyone that's donated. We're going to shout you out at the beginning of the stream, but we got a long ways to go. $2,500 is our goal to shave Taylor's head, and then $3,000 for Jessica's head. So you want to be doing that. And as always, if you cannot donate, if you can, it's tax deductible. So that's very helpful. But if you can't, just come, please watch, retweet, share, Facebook, Discord, wherever you are, especially like I've said before, the night hours, those wee hours, you UK listeners, pop over, give us a hand and everything like that. But it's going to be tons of fun. We have Gauntlet Sports Style Match, which is our esports. Mario Party. That's how busy I am. I'm so stoked that Mario Party's coming out, but we're going to have such a fun time playing Mario Party because it's just, I'm so excited that we've always played these old ones and now we got this nice HD one. So Taylor is pulling his hair out. He looks like a ventriloquist
I
dummy.
can't wait to get this haircut. It's gonna be so good. It's gonna feel amazing.
Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm just waiting for my photographer to message me back so I can do something with my hair. You can check out our Dune review. We just dropped that. That is our second for it's weird stat wise because technically Fast and Furious is somehow our biggest review of the year. But as far as like a day one people listening to reviews, that Fast Furious was just over time, but day one listening reviews, it's second place just behind Loki, which is crazy. Like Dune was bigger than Shang-Chi, it was bigger than Venom, it was bigger than what else? Suicide Squad. I was not expecting that. So thank you. And honestly, there's been lots of praise and lots of likes on it. So thank you everyone for tuning in. I think you probably can hear a passion. We almost went 3 hours on that. Yeah, lots of good stuff popping off. Just like Taylor said, Twitter and Facebook. Head down description below. You can find everything, the Extra Life links. You can find our Manscaped code because you want to be doing that. Halloween's coming up, gentlemen. I'm sure you might have some tight costumes. I have a tight costume. You know, you don't want bush. You don't want bush. It's going to be itchy. It's going to be poking out. Go to Manscaped right now for the rest of the month till November 15th and get 20% off and free shipping this Wednesday. We're going to talk about even more. We have a little commercial plan. Kirkland's going to talk about it. There's going to be some new promos come out. But yeah, please go use that because it's a good gift that helps us, but also helps you and your boys or your family jewels, as they like to say. And then, yeah, Twitch, YouTube, audio, go subscribe there. If you got a Prime membership, go use it on Twitch because you can help us out. That's where the newscasts are. Reviews are on YouTube. I don't think I'm missing anything. Am I, Taylor?
I don't think so. Is the commercial safe for? Is that for on Wednesday? Is that when we're green lighting it? Are you there, Travis? I thought you were freezing.
But I asked you, am I missing anything? And then I went over and went to you. So Taylor, I am gonna let you lead off with our main story because I'm gonna play around with some settings and see if that'll help me. But so I'll sit up and then you can just go off and then we're gonna talk about this because one of the things in our survey, the town hall, check that out. People really like that. They want to talk more Star Wars. The good thing is with next year, you got Boba Fett, you got Boba Fett this year, Mandalorian, you got Obi-Wan. And then in the near future, maybe not year, it's about a year or something like that. But in the future, we got Ahsoka coming up. And this weekend, we got some pretty spicy news that Hayden Christensen is not only going to be appearing Obi-Wan next year, but he will be returning one more time as Anakin Skywalker in the Ahsoka series. So, Taylor, just your base level thoughts. How excited are you for this?
Okay. Again, I love Hayden Christensen as Anakin Skywalker and as Darth Vader. it was one thing to say he's coming in for Obi-Wan. I was ecstatic for that. To have the confirmed, not rumored, not just like a possible leak and still not knowing if it's true, but to have the authenticated, confirmed fact that he is coming into the Ahsoka series is just mind-blowing. Like, we're gonna get, I don't know what the dynamic is, if it's gonna be through like ghost Anakin talking to Ahsoka, or is it gonna be flashbacks of Anakin with young Ahsoka? Like, I am so unfathomably happy, so happy. And it just, I feel like, what can they do wrong? I knock on wood, I'm knocking right now, but like, I just feel like there's so much potential they can give us there. Again, I'm a huge advocate and a huge fan of the Clone Wars, and Ahsoka easily became one of my most favorite Star Wars characters. So when we get into this scenario where, which I hope to God it's going to be flashbacks, we get these flashbacks, I'm hoping, with these two characters interacting, it's just going to be great. And maybe I just feel like maybe there could be like snuck in little Easter eggs, in the sense, like, what if they just get like Ewan McGregor back in there as Obi-Wan Kenobi just for a scene? Like, I don't know if they could keep that under wraps. I just feel like this is a gateway opening up to a whole new world that we're going to get to see. And if we get more Clone Wars era stuff that's just represented in live action, then I am one happy goddamn camper. S-Bubs, I'm so excited for Hayden. It's just going to be great. Fanboy Clay, do you think we get Jedi armor or stick to the robes? That's a good question. If Dave Filoni has anything to do with this, I have a hunch he's going to have the armor attached to it. And again, I it's not going to be a game changer for me. I just love to see it. But if it is a flashback, do you think we see a younger Ahsoka? That was one of the things I was suspecting would be a younger Ahsoka. I know people have fan casted a little bit, but in a realistic approach, flashbacks are what I want. Is that going to happen? I'm kind of thinking maybe not. And maybe that tweet that Rosario Dawson put out is kind of influencing my decision on this, in the sense that, okay, maybe we're just going to be getting her speaking to Ghost Anakin. I really do feel like that could be the case, because then you don't have to really do any magic, and you have Hayden Christensen, who's aged, and he's just his older self now, which would kind of fit better with the Force Ghost version and all that jazz. So that would make the most sense. And I could see the two talking and engaging through the Force, because we know Anakin has that power and to Return of the Jedi. We know Ahsoka is definitely aware of Anakin and everything that happened in that sense. And I think they kind of hinted at that a little bit, obviously, with the Mandalorian and the Jedi episode. So there's definitely, I feel like, room to kind of expand with that. But it'll be interesting to see what we get, because if it's flashbacks, then what is the context of Rosario Dawson's Ahsoka? Is she just reminiscing? Is there logistical script reasoning why she has to have these flashbacks in the storyline? Like, we've come so far with the character. The only reason we could see these flashbacks to develop her character more would be maybe for the general audience, because most of us know how far she's come and she's developed so well as a character. If you've seen Clone Wars and you've seen Rebels, you know this already. So why would they throw the flashbacks in? Again, another reason why I think the flashbacks may not happen. It may be the Force Ghost scenario, because you could have this sense where she needs to communicate with him, because 100% she's trying to find Ezra. It's going to be much more relevant to her journey and what she's trying to do in this quest if she can speak to Anakin directly on this front. And yeah, I just think, again, I'm not saying that, oh, Clone Wars flashbacks is like the best. And even though that would definitely sell it even more for me, the one thing that really is a kicker in them doing Ghost Anakin would just be the fact that, hey, you have a redeemed Jedi who is just going to be engaging. What is this redeemed Jedi going to be talking like? Again, you have characters like Revan and such, but this is someone that we get to see that we grew up with in the cinematic, the movie theaters. I want to see what he's like after this. Like, what is he like as a Jedi? Well, he's not really a Jedi. He's a Force Ghost Jedi. What is he like after Return of the Jedi? I want to know these things.
Yeah, it's interesting because like I was listening the whole time. I was fixing my sends everything, so I was here. I heard it all. Good job, Taylor. I was always worried. Not like Kirklin, deer in the headlights, who stops and looks around, and waits if you come back. But, um, so for the Force Ghost, just to call back, as I always feel, I still think it's complete bullshit that Anakin gets to be a Force Ghost. I think you should not be able to, do devilish acts and pretty much be able to go to hell, and then you get to be a Ghost. It's complete a cop out, in my opinion, for George to do. Always hated it. Um, it's so difficult, flashback versus Force Ghost. Like there is like the Tony Stark gif of, why not both, right? And maybe that could be what we end up getting, but Force ghosts are a matter of training, not good and evil, Clay says. Well, they haven't set that up in the movies. I don't know where that is, Clay. I haven't seen an evil Force ghost yet, so, and I don't care about canon. Hashtag canon doesn't matter because they contradict it all the time. I I think I think the flat if you're going the fan service route, the flashback, like Clay did bring out something good, even though he's gonna lose November 6th in the trivia battle. The Filoni, that whole squad is all about fan service, and they're all about those little moments, whatnot. Getting Hayden Christensen in those robes, I think, or the armor is a must. I really do. I think it's just, especially if he shows Hayden this. I'm sure Hayden knows, but if he shows him like, oh look, we're gonna make your character look like this in this Clone Wars stuff, blah, 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 and I think it'd be like, oh, this is really cool and stuff like that. I think I think you could get both. I think if I had my money, or classic GVA gun to my head, I would say it's flashbacks. I think it just makes sense because I think if you do the Force Ghost, you start to get into territory of like, why didn't they do this for the movies with Luke or anything like that? And I think that, or Kylo Ren, and I think that is very tippy toey. Like, it's a dangerous game to play. And again, it's different connections, stuff like that. But Star Wars kind of makes up their rules, right? So I feel like it'll be a flashback, and I'm not sure though, because even in a flashback, I think like you were talking about, it has to have some importance for the character, right? You would think. I will say there's countless examples of Star Wars just doing fan service for the sake of fan service. And I hope before the show starts, they do come up in front and they kind of set expectations. And if it's just like a fan service fun thing, I hope they can be like, oh yeah, one episode or a scene or two. Then I'm fine if they legitimately just do want to do a fan service flashback to Clone Wars. That works for me. That's cool. It's never been done. I think it's good connective tissue because there's millions of people around the world that have no fucking clue that Ahsoka was his Padawan. Like, no idea at all. And I'm somebody that watched the whole Clone Wars. I still don't like it. I still don't like the rule of a Jedi Knight being able to have a Padawan. It doesn't make much sense to me at all. I think you got to be a master. That's a whole different canon conversation. So I've never really liked it. I've liked Ahsoka as the years go on. It will be interesting to kind of put that connective tissue together because they've never interacted in the movies, and also it's going to be very strange for me seeing Anakin in the Clone Wars like kind of era again, because I'm somebody, I know lots of people disagree, but I'm somebody that feels like the Clone Wars anime character and the Anakin from the movies do not match. I feel like there's a few things that work, but for the most part it just is not, it doesn't feel there from a character point of view, from like a performance point of view, just the whole thing. So as Bub says, the flashback will be showing trailer like Cybertron from Bumblebee. But see, that's a good example. If it is just that, if it's just, hey, we want to have a great moment with Hayden Christensen, he's back, I'm down. So you thought though, if he was a Force ghost, actually take that out. If it was a flashback and was supposed to have some story meaning, what could they be using that way for? Like, I feel like the only thing would be like maybe something to do with Ahsoka being a master or something like that. Like, I feel like that's the only equivalent to it, is her learning something, maybe teaching that to an Ezra or something like that.
I mean, I never get the sense that Ahsoka is a Jedi master. I feel like she doesn't even see herself as necessarily a Jedi. Even in that episode, The Jedi, she spoke in regards to herself as not necessarily being a Jedi, but even she speaks to the Jedi like there's not many Jedi left. She doesn't really refer to herself. She still appreciates and understands and respects the Force, and in no way would I sense that she would abuse that or let that go to waste when it comes to training someone like we got to see with Grogu. But she understands, and I don't blame her for not wanting to train someone because of what happens with Anakin. And maybe we could see a little bit of that post-traumatic stress of her in the wake of dealing with Grogu, and we get a flashback of that with Anakin, because that would be the bridge connecting these two storylines at this point in time.
Mhm.
But depending on what point we get Ezra, which I really think, okay, Ezra would be like the last 2 episodes kind of thing of that storyline or that
Ooh, really?
series. I don't think it'd be earlier on. If it is, that would be interesting, but that would take away a little bit. If you do have Anakin as a flashback, it's hard to say what it's going to be connected to. That's why I feel like script wise, it makes more sense to be Force Ghost, and she can reach out to him trying to find Ezra, like, something out there in the Force. Maybe she goes to some place like Tython, where she knows that is a loud crack. I can hear that in my headset. She goes to a
You're
place like
welcome.
Tython, and those are the places where she can commune and maybe speak to Force Ghost Anakin, where she goes to these powerful Jedi temples that are still connected to the Force really strongly, that haven't been destroyed by the Empire. So,
So you don't think the Force Ghost potentially brings up why didn't he appear to Luke or Kylo in the series?
well, we again, from what we've been shown, and it sucks because we haven't been shown necessarily a lot, but from our perspectives of what we are aware of at this point in time in the grand scheme of Star Wars storytelling, Anakin has not communed with Luke. Deep down, I 100% feel like they're just waiting for the right moment, but they're gonna somehow put it in a comic
They're
book or
waiting.
something.
They're
Oh
that's
yeah,
oh the right I
they're gonna
respect
put
comic
it. No, they're gonna put it in a comic book or something of like Luke and Anakin talking.
that's the right moment is not
I'm
when you
not
have
saying it's
Anakin.
well for them. They're gonna feel like it's the right moment. I'm not saying it is like the right best moment, but I
Mhm.
feel like they're gonna do something like that. Fanboy Clay says he did show himself to Luke. I need
First
to
of
know
all,
what form of media.
first of all, don't phrase it like that. That just sounds like there's something wrong. It sounds like I'm watching Titan. Well, yeah, he showed himself in is he referring to Return the Jedi? Is that it? Because like I'm speaking as the same way that Luke talks to Yoda in Last Jedi. Yeah, we know Clay. Get out of here.
He's ready for the Star Wars trivia. I
Oh
respect
yeah,
that,
he
Clay.
is. Yeah, I'm gonna kick that ass. But like, no, like all it's so tough, right? Because I feel like they were put in a very difficult position as far as they got the sequels or they got Star Wars, right? Then they went to make the sequel trilogy, and they definitely had this mindset. We've seen it before from the promotion, from the Star Celebration. It was ignore the prequels, right? Barely refer to them. It's just kind of it's a little bit of a thing, but let's not talk about them. Now, as years have gone on, I think they've realized one, there's a bigger fan base, and two, oh, people don't really love our movies too much. Like there's some people that do, but I feel like they're like, oh, this is just fans in general. Some people like this, some people don't like this, whatever. So I feel like that's maybe why we missed the Hayden boat is because they were a little scared to pull the trigger then. And I was saying this on DC Alliance that it's not as scary to pull the trigger on Hayden when it's the streaming show, when it's not like $1 billion franchise. Like now, like it's not like you're not getting people like, oh, isn't that guy who you can disagree, but oh, isn't that the guy who's like really terrible and talks about sand? In the streaming show, I don't think that can happen. It's not the same expectations, but not having him like I think even more so than Luke, Kylo was it's tough because in a Force Ghost, in your opinion, Taylor, could they just appear or do you need like a connection where it's like, hey, you would have had to talk in the previous life?
What do you mean talk in the previous life?
Well, okay, so you and me have a connection, right? Like we know each other. So let's say you're a Force Ghost, you die, you can talk to me. But if I never met like Tim from Idaho, but he's a Force Ghost. Could he come talk to me? Like your mindset of Force Ghost, could they come down and enlighten anyone, or do they have to have like a
Are
previous
you saying
connection,
this?
like in their past life with one another?
You're saying this solely based on the fact that everyone that's encountered a Force ghost has had a personal interaction with that ghost?
Yes.
I mean, it's not out of the question, but I'm trying to think like everything throughout the Clone Wars and such. No,
Yeah.
I would say that's disproved. I default to Rise of Skywalker when Rey is able to Force Ghost here, like Ayla Sakura and Mace Windu, Qui-Gon Jinn, and Yoda, Obi-Wan, all these characters. So I
They
think
didn't
that
appear though. Those are just some voices, you
those were
know.
Force Ghost voices like Ray, rise, these are your final steps. And even Obi-Wan speaking to her before, like these are your first steps. Like
Yeah, but you could take that he's not speaking to, like, he is speaking to her, but it's almost like just a
they
general.
say the name, they say her name.
Yeah, I guess so. That's when she's supposed to be Kenobi, right? But yeah, no, I'm not saying it's not wrong. I'm just asking in general. So that's where I feel like the opportunity was to have the Luke or Hayden, fine, but like, hey, and I don't necessarily know if I want it. I need to see what his performance is like. Like, I don't. It is like as was pointing out, it's gonna be a better script, hopefully better director. And George is still like a master at some stuff. It's just acting. He's not the greatest coach on that. So for me, like the play was Kylo, you would think, right? And at any point, it is that thing of like, it gets in that territory though of like you have to suspend disbelief because the day after that he runs away and joins Snoke, why does Vader not go? Like, why does Anakin not go to Kylo and be like,
I
hey,
can
like, no, so,
believe
one
that.
second, 1 second. When they're like, hey, they try to portray it as like it was one weak moment for Vader or yada da da da, like it never really happened. He was always the Dark Lord of the Sith or whatever. But like for him not to go and just be like, yeah, dude, like, no, like I completely was wrong my whole life. I ruined my whole life. This was awful. That is the problem with you have with Force Ghost being able to talk to anybody, in my opinion. Because if you take the route of they can only talk with someone if they've met them or have a connection in previous life, oh, perfect. That's why he can't talk to Ben because they weren't, yeah, sure, blood, but they weren't fully connected. To me, it never made sense that Vader would never come down and be like, hey, Ben, like, this is not the route to go. It makes zero sense. It really does.
It's 100% the example that explains all of it is Snoke. Again, you see Han and Leia saying like it was Snoke who warped him and turned him into this, and that's all you need. We know that the Sith are
No.
powerful at blocking the light side of the Force, getting the dark side clouds, everything. All Snoke had to do was just keep his tendrils wrapped around
Oh,
Kylo
see,
Ren.
no, and that's where I disagree because if you look at canon, what they've done with Kylo Ren is he didn't even kill those people on that planet that like Luke's students,
Yeah,
everything like
but
that. It's
I'm
just
not
fucking
saying
lightning
I'm not
bolt.
saying Kylo Ren was refusing to just succumb to it. I'm saying Snoke basically just put something around him, was just keeping him in. That's why it was so. That's the whole journey for him. And when he kills Snoke, then you can kind of see that's when things change. That whole apparatus around him that Snoke had put there has completely been shaken. He's trying to pick up the pieces where he's trying to just think that okay, like I am the supreme leader, like I have to stick to what this was, but he's coming to the realizations that like, hey, I am like I'm not under this veil that Snoke put there. Like I can finally see things. And again, I obviously Harrison Ford wasn't necessarily a force ghost in that moment, but like
Just a memory.
he was just a memory. But that was again reiterating the fact that hey, he's opened up. He doesn't have something kind of like hiding things and suppressing him from this light trying to reach him anymore.
Okay, so why doesn't Anakin come down and talk to him then?
He didn't need to because he's
Mm.
probably about to, and he's like, "Oh, Harrison's got this. I'm
No.
bouncing."
Yeah, no, there's quite a few plot holes in Star Wars when you break down, but
But
you just
but
gotta have.
they know that they can't come in and necessarily like they're not supposed to come in and fight the battles and change the shape of a
I'm not
war,
asking them
everything
to fight
like
the
that.
bottle.
But
They
they
no,
can't
but
come in and be like, "Hey, you know what, Jimmy? He's actually working for Palpatine on Exegol. Go talk to Jimmy."
well, no, but just talking about him and his path. I'm not saying he had to reveal Emperor's on the Exegol. It's Anakin talking about experiences that he went through and stuff that ruined his life. That has nothing to do with Palpatine or Snoke or anything else or Rey. Just like, hey, we're the same bloodline. I made these same mistakes. Maybe you shouldn't make these mistakes. It doesn't track at all when you have that capability. So again, why sometimes for me the canon of Star Wars just kind of fills itself way too much. So I again before let's take an ad break and then we'll be right back because I want to talk about why I think Hayden could be in this and maybe we're not done with him after Ahsoka, so we'll be right back. We got our 30 seconds.
Ooh, 30 seconds. Hell yeah.
Saying Luke was tempted by Palpatine, Snoke could have easily manipulated Kylo throughout their time. I'm not saying he couldn't have manipulated him. That's not what I'm talking about. Snow like Anakin just sitting around, just hoping Padme's gonna appear. God damn, Padme.
When's she coming back? That's what I want to see.
When's Padme coming back?
Yeah.
It's not a realm possibility because I think that's what I'm going to talk about here. So there's two things I want to shout out in the chat. Clay and Espos were talking about who's running it. I think it's for sure Filoni that's running Ahsoka. Favreau and Filoni, maybe. I don't think I've heard the Favreau part. He might be producing it, but I think Filoni might be show running it. And then this is what the other thing that I thought too when you were talking about Anakin appearing to Luke at the right moment. This is the right moment right here. We'll talk to Luke in season 3 of Sebastian Stan show solo Disney Plus show. Now, I don't know about season 3, but if they do, because the rumors have died down, but after that show, Mando finale, there's tons of rumors about a Luke solo show. So if that is true, then I think that is the place that they would pull it. And Padme, I think so. You and I have talked about this before because you had the fan film and all this stuff. To me, the fact that Hayden came back for Obi-Wan, okay, it doesn't make sense. I still don't like the storyline. What I think we're getting with Obi-Wan is him going off one last adventure. I just wanted a Logan, him on the desert dealing with his PTSD. Hopefully we get some of that, but I just didn't need Vader. But I get why I get the itch, right, to throw Vader in the Obi-Wan series. It makes sense. To me, this would make more sense throwing him in Ahsoka, but either way, so you have him there. I think no matter what happened, even if it's just a small little cameo, whatever happened on that set or in the scene, they looked at Hayden and they went, you know what? He's done good enough or he did good that we can feel comfortable bringing back. Now, I feel like that sounds bad, but if they would have, let's say, shot the Obi-Wan stuff, right? And the producers, directors, Lucasfilm, Kathleen Kennedy, Favreau, Filoni, whoever it may be, Filoni wouldn't care. Filoni doesn't, to me, have that sort of track record of calling actors out being bad. But let's say they just watched the Hayden Christensen dailies and they're like, you know what? It wasn't just George. Like, this just doesn't play. It's too wooden. We brought him back for Obi-Wan. That made sense. The fans will be happy. But, we did our part. I think this shows that, again, he might just be in the helmet a lot, but I feel we're definitely getting some Hayden. I think this shows that he did a good enough job where they went, we could give him a bit more. And that's where it comes into question, Taylor Field. We have Marvel popping off with, you got Loki. We have rumors of the, what is the other show? Agatha. So they're dipping their toes in the villain aspect. Now, of course, Loki kind of has like a villainous, to hero turn, but still, they are promoting main shows with characters that are heroes, even if they turn, or villains, even if they turn heroic, they're starting as villains. I'm not saying you're going to get that with Vader, but do you see I'll ask you this. What is your percentage in the next 5 years we get a Vader series? Even if it's just a mini series, do you think we get a Vader series? Because Clay's pointed out in the comments right there, and I've read a few of them. I want to read all of them, but like, there's tons of praise. I think it was Charles Soule who did that. He wrote Daredevil for a while, really good run. He had made. There's lots of runs actually that have been lots of praise, but there's quite a few runs the past few years of Vader that have gotten lots of praise as far as just him hunting Jedis, but also just like him dealing with the trauma and that transition from Anakin to Vader. I think there's tons of stuff to mine there, but the question is, do they actually do it? So now that he's in Obi-Wan, now he's Ahsoka. How do you feel about where's your percentage right now that we get a Vader show in the next 5 years?
I'm gonna go. Oh, I'm probably gonna go 75%.
Oh, you're higher than me. I'm at a 60. That's where I'm at right now.
I'm not totally sold that they would go ahead and do it. I feel like they would. Well, Clay's talking about animated. That's a whole other conversation. I feel like.
No.
I feel like.
No, you go make your point. That's about anime. Not to shoot again animated. I just feel like to get the best bang for their buck, if they announce Vader the series, they're doing that shit live action.
Oh, 100%. They can't do that animated. I feel like if they were to do more Darth Vader, it's not going to be in the form of their like a movie or a series or something like that. I just feel like they want to keep people on edge of their seat and they just want to sprinkle them throughout Star Wars. I feel like they're going to look at it like,
you think it's 75%, but you think they're actually just going to sprinkle them through Star Wars?
I think there's a 75% chance that they could do it, but that's a shaky 75. Like, it's dwindling and could go down. The thing I'm 100% sure on is that they're just going to sprinkle him throughout Star Wars in these shows and these mediums and stuff like that. I do think that their reason is, you want a Darth Vader movie, watch the original trilogy. I know it's mostly about Luke and all that, but like, you get a good dose of Darth Vader and his development as a Sith Lord and the dynamic of his son in that trilogy. You get a whole prequel series about him growing up and everything like that. So you have all that already. And I know people want the Jedi hunting Vader style-esque show and all that stuff, but to be honest, as cool as that would be, Yeah, I'm fine with it being in comics and books. Him going after Jocasta Nu, him getting his Kyber crystal, him fighting like Darth Maulman, I believe was the Sith Architect's name. Like there's so many cool aspects they can dive into that they have already with the comics. I don't necessarily need to see all that represented on a show. I think it would confuse people a little bit if they dive into some of these storylines of
How
him
would it
just
confuse people? It's just his time in between now and episode 4 of just him being a badass, and you get Dr. Aphra as the main character, the second main character. You're good to go. This is all same, and this is how I know you're wrong on this one. This is the same man that I said, like, oh, they're gonna have Vader and Obi-Wan. He's like, no, I don't want that. I don't need that. But then the second Hayden Christensen was announced, he was doing double backflips. So
What do you mean I'm wrong? Because you're a lower percent than me that he would have a series.
no, I mean, I'm wrong about you being like, oh, I don't think I need it. The second they announce that on like a Disney Plus day, you'll run through your glass window in your
Oh,
house.
I know.
So like that's where it's weird for me. Like I think that it is. I think it's one of these things of just. It's the Jim and they were trending on Twitter, even though it's a very overrated show. As my fiance is rewatching it for like a sixth time. Star Wars and Darth Vader now are the Jim and Pam. There's all this flirting, all this teasing, and you can make these cases like you did. People go, "Oh, well, it's already a Vader movie. It's already Anakin. You got a story, blah blah blah." But stars how many times? Rogue One. How much marketing of the sequel trilogy? Now they're going to use for Obi-Wan. How many fucking times are they just going to show Darth
But
Vader and
that's
be
him
like,
being
"I
sprinkled
agree."
throughout the series.
But I think it's just like it's like that couple you just want to see finally get together. It's like just pull the trigger. We know that everyone at Lucasfilm wants, in my opinion, wants to do this fucking show, or they want to do more of Vader. Because the reason it's tough with Vader is because he got killed off. I guarantee you, if George left Vader live, he would have been popping off all over in that fucking sequel trilogy, and you know it. So this to me is the best way of like, well, we can't do that, but we could tell, and even if it's just a one and done 6-episode series, easy. Make a new character or make a Jedi he's hunting the main character and then put Vader on the other side. I just feel like stop pretending like you guys don't want to do a Vader movie or a Vader show. Even if it's a Vader movie just for Disney Plus, fuck yeah, that'd be awesome. Like think like you can't deny that if they announce a Vader series or show, that is a series or a movie for Disney Plus, that's a service seller. Wouldn't you agree? Like that's something that if you don't have Disney Plus and you're any bit of a Star Wars fan, you hear, oh, they're doing a Darth Vader, even if it's an hour and a half movie in Disney Plus, that will bring people in. That could easily maybe be its most watched thing on Disney Plus. So I just feel like I agree with you. Sure, keep sprinkling in. I'm not opposed to it, but it's like stop denying yourselves now. Of like don't do this thing where it's like, oh, you either have to be with the sequels or the past. Don't do it all. Like there's this whole thing about the sequels. At times it felt like we had to really move away from the prequels, and then like the OG characters, like we got to establish these people. Like even we heard those reports at the park, right? When that first opened was like it was all sequel trilogy characters and no OG characters. Why is that? Have a fucking mix of them. So it's like I feel it crosses the box of you're doing a Star Wars villain show and it's the biggest one yet. Because the good thing is it works. You can start doing a Darth Maul. You can do all these other ones. And if it doesn't, then whatever. But I just feel like they should just stop beating around the bush. Just do it. They want to do it. They want that Vader money,
So you're not wrong. The thing with that is though, S-Bubs, you're right. A Vader show is literally free money for Disney, but Disney doesn't play by the rules of just caving into what people want like that. Like it takes a long time.
Oh
And that
yeah.
being said,
Boba Fett.
well, no, 100%. That took a long freaking time. Again, like
But
what
then when it happened,
we've
he's getting his own
pitched,
show now.
we've pitched, I feel like many different Star Wars things that would have been just easy money in the past that they should have done. Like just certain things that we feel like they should have tackled. Again, it's biased because
don't include Knights of the Old Republic, because to me that's not easy money. That's easy money for us. This is easy money for your fucking grandma. Darth Vader is Darth Vader, like especially if that Luke Skywalker show is actually happening. Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader are the easiest money. Now, someone might come back to me and say, "Well, what about Han Solo?" That was a mistake, and they fumbled that ball, and that maybe have scared them. But Vader, I feel like is
here's my pitch. So the reason why I think again, like the whole easy money thing like that, like, and the reason why something like Old Republic would be so different in this sense, and again, we're getting into that High Republic era. A lot of the people that, and I'm going to say this with as much respect as I can, and it's all just the transition of generations. The generation that was there for the original trilogy are getting much, much older in age, and they're a lot of them are, unfortunate. Like people die, people pass away, and
Cash in now, baby.
Disney, well, yeah, exactly. Disney is in the business of making money, and what makes money? The next generation of people, and this next generation is going to be raised on the High Republic era. That's where obviously they're focusing their money. So you're having it's
No,
100%
sir.
it. Like we're still the
No,
fans of
sir.
like you bring the kids in to watch Mandalorian, they're gonna love the Grogu and everything, but do little kids like your kids, are they fully aware of Luke and have that huge sentimental attachment there? Disney's not necessarily going to look at that as a major attachment. They're going to honor and do their best to respect us and our fan base and our generation, what we love. And again, we got that Luke Skywalker, at the end of Mandalorian. We're getting a Rogue Squadron movie that I'm super passionate about because that is a good nod to the originals, like the pilots of the Rebellion stuff. We're getting these little things. But at the end of the day, I feel like there's a high chance and a reason why we're getting that Sith Acolyte show before we're getting a Vader show. And now I will finish off again. I'm not disregarding that Vader stuff because I said 75% for a reason. And that reason is, yes, we got Obi-Wan. Yes, we got Boba Fett. But after years and years and years, it took a long time before we finally got that stuff. All that stuff came after the fact that we got what Disney wanted to do, like the Solo movie and the High Republic stuff. So,
but again, like two things where it's like you brought up Mandalorian. You're completely right. Where I feel like because the mask and everything, because Adam Driver's popular, he's probably the most popular thing to come out of the sequel trilogy. But the most popular thing to ever come out of this Lucasfilm Disney era is Grogu. 100%. That is a marketing machine, but it's like a marketing machine that like plays well for the story. It works. But what else? And you're right. My kids are 4 and 2, but my kids have Grogu stuff like that. But the thing, it works in that when they do get old enough to keep watching it. Who did they also have in that show? Was Boba Fett. So you take these older characters that, they might not care about in these older movies. Oh, look at this. Look at these bad effects. What's going on? Why does what are these little teddy bears?
Look at these bad effects.
But you take Boba Fett and you make him into a popular character for kids or the new generation. Then you go, oh, who is that? Oh, well, he's from this. He's from this. I think with Vader, and I think it's kind of like it's not the exact same, but with Boba Fett, you got him in the show, and then that show ended with an announcement of his show. I'm not saying that the Travis told you on Ahsoka. I don't believe that they would announce at the end, but they are sprinkling in Obi-Wan, and it's different to me. It's not just Vader. Now they're sprinkling Hayden Christensen. They're sprinkling the name, the actor, and it's kind of like, unfortunately, with the Luke show, Mark Hamill's old, and you can't do that, right? And even Hayden Christensen, he'd have so little screen time. But just like Boba Fett, he's in Mando 2, and then show he's in Obi-Wan, he's in Ahsoka. So that sprinkling to me is like it's testing the waters. And I feel like once they see that spike, because I think Obi-Wan legitimately could end up being the most watched Disney Plus thing for sure, because it's just Obi-Wan, that character, Ewan back, Vader, all this stuff. I think it will really set them up, be like, you know what? And maybe that Obi-Wan show gets those new people, and they go, oh, who is this Darth Vader guy? Oh, well, he was the main villain of the last 3 movies. Oh, really? Like for the little kids. So, Taylor Phil, GeekVerse podcast, you have your hand up trying to show your true quality.
Show my true quality. So, on that note, that was a good analogy. Boba Fett is one singular character, and I think you're right. Bringing in these old OG characters into this new media is a great way to get the younger generation set up. Like Clay said in the chat, this generation is set up on the old generation nostalgia and the sequel trilogy. That being said, we're getting Vader and Obi-Wan. We don't know in what context we're getting Anakin or Vader in the Ahsoka show. I feel like, are we gonna get something down the line that more focuses on Hayden Christensen as Anakin Skywalker, or are we going to get something that's pushing more on the Darth Vader side? Because what if this is again segueing us towards like live action Clone Wars stuff? Snips and Sky Guy.
Man, that would be such a kick in the nuts to me if they announced a live action Clone Wars show.
I would be dead happy.
So here's the thing. As much as I think Disney can watch us and be like, Hayden did a good job, I will say, and maybe I'll be completely proven wrong, there's a reason, though. Ewan McGregor, despite the terrible script and the terrible direction, everyone goes, well, I love Ewan McGregor. He's a perfect Obi-Wan. That's because he's a phenomenal actor who can carry that. Hayden is not that. And I don't think Hayden could carry a whole... I don't think Hayden as Anakin Skywalker could fully carry a show. I really don't.
But maybe this is why they're bringing back Tamara Morrison, get back in the clone suit. They're bringing all these characters
and
in.
spouse full live action remake of Clone Wars. Honestly, though, legitimately, I would be down because I'd be like, "Fuck!" Like, like I'd just be impressed. Like, all right, let's see you fucking do this because I do want to return to the. I want to turn to the Clone Wars. Well, okay, I'll take that back. I'll walk it back. I want to turn to the prequel era more than we have, especially in the dark times. Fuck the dark times. I'm over the dark times. But Clone Wars, I'm done with. I don't think you would get a Clone Wars show. I really don't because it's just. I think there's not much more ground to cover there. Even Bad Batch to me, I feel like lots of people have felt like it's just Clone Wars 2, and it has not had the hype. People do not talk about that show other than the most hardcore people. So I feel, and also when you're saying could it be just like, let's say it's just Anakin, I don't think that's the free money. I think that's like, oh yeah, Anakin Skywalker. I think Vader, that logo with the helmet, the like, think about all the sick posters. Think about a poster of him on Mustafar. Think about a poster of him like with a dead Padme. Like there's tons of things. I talk about Natalie Portman, how we got into this. That's where I could see her appear 100% in Visions. She came back for Thor Ragnarok. So family says I think Hayden would be willing to do more. So many fans are accepting last 5-7 years. I at the end of the day, I'm not saying it's not the fans. I just think Lucasfilm might just be like, this guy's not strong enough to like. There's certain people like imagine if you were to. That's a terrible comparison. But look at the guy who plays like Razor Fist and Shang-Chi, and then like that guy's getting his own series. Like, well, this guy's not the greatest actor. Like, I think they still got to be picky and choosy. If you were to do a ensemble, but even I see that's the difference where you said, and I get your point when we have the Darth Vader movie. We kind of do, but he's an ensemble. I feel like I have the Anakin Skywalker story between the Clone Wars and the prequels. I feel like that's been covered. I want the rest of it, you know? And yeah, the fans drove him away from the spotlight, but like for me, it's not so much about like the fans being accepted now. To me, this is more a show quality thing that I don't think Lucasfilm would feel comfortable putting Hayden there. And I know you go like, oh, well, people wouldn't push away now. It just might be like it might not review well. He might not be able to carry that. We'll see. Maybe he'll be in Obi-Wan and just knock me out. But Fresh Prince saying honestly, I'd much rather a Clone Wars style animated remake of Episode 3 than a live action Clone Wars. That's interesting. That'd be that. That'd be. I don't want either Fresh Prince, but I applaud you for wanting that. You know, it's. But I don't know. Go ahead, Taylor.
Did you see? And maybe okay, I'm gonna drop a spoiler warning because when I found this article, I don't know 100% if it's real or not, but I'm just gonna spoiler warning for the Obi-Wan series. Three,
Oh,
two,
wait
one.
a second. Is it no? No. How do you think do I even want to know this? Like, how heavy of a spoiler is this?
It is a concept art.
Oh, I don't know. Was
Oh,
it?
you're pondering
No, I
it.
think we talked about this. Is it like a certain stuff with Vader, like showing
Yeah.
him in a certain light? Yeah. If you don't
Is
want to
that?
hear anything about Vader for the next 2 minutes, mute it. But I
I
think
have your
I think
permission
you're
to talk
safe.
about it.
I
You
think you're
know,
safe.
okay.
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah.
Oh, it's the ending to Obi-Wan. It leaked. No, it was just like him, like Rogue One style. Like the concept art looked like Hayden, 100% like Rogue One, like in the Bacta tank, and the
Yeah.
concept art looked like we got to actually see Hayden's face of this time, and just that was all it was. So I'm wondering if we're gonna get, which I would think, more that Mustafar kind of environment, which I really hope we do, because none of these new films like Rogue One or Rise of Skywalker mention Mustafar, and I just wanted to say like Mustafar on the. Oh, I hit my finger on the table. That hurt. I wanted to say Mustafar so bad.
Oh, we went to Mustafar though. You know.
We did, but like, how many people know that? Like, you see a lava planet, like,
No one
cool lava planet, and the GA is not going to know. Little kids aren't going to know. But me, who goes and gets the Star Wars visual dictionaries, I look it up. Like, oh, it was Mustafar. Fuck yeah!
I think the Ahsoka show is. I do think that could be the more fan servicing, or I think it services Ahsoka as a character. I think what he appears as in Vader and Obi-Wan, that to me is the real test for him getting his own show. And I think if people love that and they like the concept of what he's doing, because there could be legitimately a full episode or an introduction of Vader of like, what if he is like hunting other Jedi in this series currently, you know? And I think people may see that just like the hallway scene and be like, fuck yeah, give me a whole season of this, you know? And I think it's possible. I really think it is. So it's
Well,
interesting.
you make a good point. Whatever light we see him is gonna affect that. I personally hope we get to see more of the dynamic between him and the Inquisitor. Necessarily, What was I gonna go with necessarily? Jesus Christ. I've been podcasting for so many hours today. Preferably, I would love to see the interpretation redone in either the Obi-Wan show or future Darth Vader series of him having that interaction with the Inquisitor from Fallen Order, where again, it doesn't have to be in that exact same light, but him like just randomly like battling an Inquisitor and like training. It's just that whole setting that Fallen Order set up where the Inquisitor was terrified and Vader just ominously walks up behind her and executes her was absolutely legendary. And I would love to see something similar to that replicated on a live action show. Again, there's rumors that we're gonna get one of the what was the man's name? Fast and the Furious.
Yeah, a guy who plays Han Solo in Fast and Furious.
Plays Han Solo in Fast and the Furious.
Yeah, he plays Han Solo.
What do you mean Han Solo in Fast and the Furious? His name is Han Solo?
Yes, his name is Han Solo. Did you not know that?
I thought his name was Han.
Yeah, and then look at what his last name is.
I never knew his last name is Solo. Are you screwing with me?
Yeah, it's Solo in however you'd spell it in his culture.
It's Han Lu.
No.
Google says Han Lu.
Is there an S in it?
Han Sol. Han Sol, not Han Solo.
No, it's Han Solo the way you pronounce it. I've heard this people for years talking about this. So,
wow.
The real question is, when is Cal Kestis going to show up in one of these shows? It'll happen. I think it'll be a little bit. I think we'll see what that second game does, but he'll pop up. I'm excited for him to pop up. I don't need to see him pop up, but I really like that actor. So
I feel like Cal coming back is too close to Ezra.
Yeah, maybe they're together.
Yeah.
Anything else?
I think that's it.
Man, I'm like, oh, Taylor, we'll talk so I can go start playing this game so I start review it. Here we are. I haven't done a whole hour on one topic. Here we go. Should answer your phone. So no. Let's take an ad break and we're going to talk about some Batgirl. Yeah, we'll talk about Batgirl when we're next. Oh, I didn't run the 30 seconds.
Good.
Cal versus Ezra, Dawn of the Force. Oh, God.
No numbers in there, though.
What do you mean no numbers?
Usually he's got a number in there, right?
No, but he's making a BVS joke here.
Oh.
Kyle v. Ezra, Dawn of the Force. So he's always got something up his sleeves. That's Bubs. Always got something up his sleeves. And we're back. So let's talk about Batgirl. Brendan Fraser has been cast as Firefly. So it's very interesting. We haven't talked about this since fandom. They showed that. They confirmed that J.K. Simmons is going to be Gordon. So, of course, good thing to confirm it, not during fandom. I get it. But then, so today, it came out that Brendan Fraser's going to be the villain and he's going to be Firefly. So, what do you think, Taylor? Because we're in this nice little era of like Brendan Fraser slowly making a comeback. He's appearing in more things. What do you think is what does this do for your excitement level? Because for me, this boosted it quite a bit. Like I obviously eat up all the Batman content I can when I got the time, especially live action shows and movies and animated stuff because it's easy to watch, consume. But now we got Brendan Fraser coming in, being the villain. What are your thoughts about this?
I'm super, super ecstatically excited. I follow so many Emotep mummy meme groups on social media, and collectively, all these groups have a huge appreciation for Brendan Fraser. And it's just like, there's so many people that they love the guy and they just put him on such a high pedestal. And I love seeing all like the support and the appreciation for him. Because you've talked about how he used to do his own stunts and it took a huge toll on his body. And I can't imagine that. So I definitely have a lot of respect for the guy. Like I love his movies. He's just such a classic, I don't know, like just at everything. Like what's so funny? You don't have respect for the guy?
No, I just imagine please don't send me to hell. But I just imagine the first day he gets some Batgirl said, like, you're doing your own stunts, right? And and he's up there with like because it's Firefly, so he flies like, and he's up there with the wires and everything. You guys said that be a stunt double. Oh, he can't. So like Turbo Man, when they lose that stunt double guy, like yeah, no, I just because I thought about that. This is the first time he's really doing something like really action heavy. So it's like, is he
Is
gonna be
Doom Patrol
wearing?
not really action heavy?
He just
I
does
feel
the
like it
voice.
would be.
He
Oh,
appears sometimes as his human character, but most of the time he's just doing the voice and everything like that. And he's not Robot Man in the suit, so that's a different actor. But uh
oof. That's what I was thinking. Travis is like lagging out here a little bit. We had to cancel him. Oh no, he's back. He's back on the show.
yeah, the lawyers got me, but hashtag Chaz over. I do not know. Okay, if anyone loves Brendan Fraser, it's me on the podcast. I've said before, there's many instances in my life that's almost was close, but this scene in George of the Jungle, when that man is running around with that horse, or when he's like just out of the shower, oh my goodness, there's no greater male specimen that's ever lived than Brendan Fraser in George of the Jungle. He's fascinating, fascinating. But what do you think about this? Him playing like a villainous role? Because obviously, I think most of the roles you've seen him, he's always been like the lovable, like charming good guy or the action hero. This is going to be he's going off against Batgirl, and obviously you don't know much about Firefly. At times he's been like a guy who's like obsessed with fire, and he's like obviously he's just like you're gonna. I don't know if they're gonna go full costume, but the Firefly from comics anime, you fucking love Firefly. Like he just has a flamethrower on him. You may have played him. You may have been some of the Arkham games you played, but I feel like you're gonna absolutely love them if they go full comic booky.
I'm excited. Again, like you said, this is a new light that I haven't seen Brendan Fraser in. So him being a villain is going to be really cool. It's going to be awesome to see in this new path that he's been selected for, especially in the Batman universe. I think that's great. I wish I put him on my superhero draft roster. I didn't occur to me, but
No, this to me was a complete left field. I was not. I'm enjoying his little comeback here, but I was not expecting Brendan Fraser being Batgirl. And yeah, sure, it's on HBO Max. I know some people go back and forth of like stream movies not being as big as theatrical, but like it's the first ever Batgirl movie. There's going to be a big push for it, and I'm just very curious to see what type of villain he's going to be. If it's going to be like very cheesy and chewing the scenery, but is like because there's been some roles recently he's done where he's done a lot like deeper and darker stuff. So I don't know. It's a fascinating choice. And I love that we're getting him in like a big action movie, you know?
yeah, I agree. It's going to be really, really awesome to see him on this set, like the same universe as, Batflick and Henry Cavill's Superman. So it's going to be awesome.
Yeah. And then obviously we had the confirmation of J.K. Simmons. I imagine you're happy that he is back.
Oh yeah, I think he was a great Gordon. I mean, as brief as it was, it'll be very nice to see him get the chance back. Calling for help because Batflick is obviously doing other stuff, so they got to
Obviously.
call in the lady.
And they've talked about this, the writers, that they're saying that there will be a Batman in it or a Batman appearance. We don't really know. Do you think that we're actually going to see Ben Affleck or any Batman in this? Because my theory is that we're going to get like a flashback to Batgirl seeing a Batman, but like you could literally throw anybody in the cow and it's like, oh, that's Batman. Like that's Ben Affleck's Batman. In my opinion, I think that's what's gonna happen.
Do you think it'll just be like Man of Steel Shazam style, like neck down shot?
You took my joke. I made that joke on Twitter. I made the exact same thing. I said how Ben Affleck's gonna appear in
Oh, did you
Batgirl. And I was
really?
like, I
Oh
did,
shit.
man. This guy's just stealing my fucking material, everybody. But what do you think? Will we actually get a what do you take from that? Of like there will be a Batman uh, I I don't know if it was appears. I had to look at what the quote they said, but there'll be something Batman related in this. What do you think? Like, is it flashback? Is it current day? Is it is it a almost Spider-Verse situation where it's like, oh, the Batman died and Batgirl's carrying on the legacy or something like that?
I hope it's not a scenario where it's like, yeah, Batman died. Honestly, I quite enjoy the idea of seeing that kind of like mentor setup. And do we know what the relation is? Like, is this going to be related to? I don't know the bloodlines very well. Is this going to be related to our Alfred? Is going to be she related to like our Batman? Like, what's the?
No, because they're going the comic book route. She's Gordon's daughter.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, they're not going
Um,
Batman and Robin route of suit me on Uncle, suit me up,
so
Uncle Al.
Bat, what is the difference between just interesting example: Ruby Rose's Batgirl and this Batgirl. Like,
Well, that's
is
Batwoman.
Batwoman and Batgirl. So, what are the differences between those
Well,
two?
that's Bruce's cousin.
Okay.
There's a lot complicated, but yeah, she's Batwoman. She's like she's a completely different character. Batgirl's, I'd say, the most classic female sidekick. You can count Catwoman if you want, but obviously they started sidekicks. They got bigger, and she's had relations with Dick Grayson in the past. That's kind of her main love interest, and yeah, she's Jim Gordon's daughter. She takes it this cape and cowl. There's most, I'd say, interpretations Jim Gordon doesn't know, and it's usually a big thing of like she's trying to keep it from her dad. So, and her origin, I feel like, is always kind of a little bit different with each series. But yeah, that they're going with that version where I don't think Gordon knows, and she is taking the suit up and she's gonna go fight crime.
I see. Okay.
Oh man, S Bubs, his off-screen's definitely gonna be he crashes Batmobile.
They'll
I
just replay the same scene from BVS where his Batmobile crashes. They'll just play that in there.
and you see like Superman's cape like a little bit, but not
Yeah.
really. Let's talk about some trailers here. So this was, I think, last Thursday all the way back, but Uncharted. Taylor Field, are you excited at all for this? Because I think you may have played some Uncharted. I never have. I always want to get around to it. It was just something that passed me by.
I have played and beaten every one except the PS4 one, Among
Oh.
Thieves. I am a big Uncharted fan. I just have not gotten a PS4 to play the last one. I love Nathan Drake. I love Sully. I am such a huge fan of this series. That's one of the reasons why I bought my PS3 was to indulge in the Uncharted trilogy. I bought the games before I even bought the PS3. So I'm super stoked for this movie, but I can't stop unseeing Spider-Man. He does the goddamn Spider-Man pose, for crying out loud. Like, it's
Whoa, he threw a goddamn out there.
a goddamn. Like, it's just it's I'm open to seeing, like, okay, how they go about this, because I love this franchise, and I can't wait to see what they do with the movie. And I love Mark Wahlberg, and I do love Tom Holland, but I really do just see more Peter Parker than I do Nathan Drake. Like, Nathan Drake, just as much, I understand they're going for like, hey, they just met, he's got to be younger in this, but I feel like he needs to be just a little bit older, and just I feel like he doesn't have any like fur on his chin. Like, he just seems so young.
I was gonna ask you, so like, let's say they say, okay, it's not Tom Holland, would just still be the in general, you're not a fan of the age category?
I'm okay with the age. Like, I really am, but I just feel like he doesn't look like it. Like, it needs someone who's like a little bit more tanned, darker hair. And again, I know you've made like the case like, hey, these characters don't exist in real life. They can be whoever they want. And I definitely support that, because it's up to however they want to tell the story, for sure. And I'm not gonna be like, oh, not my Uncharted. But yeah, that's just my only real con. The bigger thing that I have a problem with is the fact that I feel like he's doing little subtle things that are a little bit too much like Spider-Man, Peter Parker like. So I feel like that's hopefully not consistent throughout the movie, but
What
I'm just excited.
What about the rest of the trailer? Like, you had Mark Wahlberg, and then you had the vibe. Like, I feel like it could be up your alley as far as like a national treasure sort of way. Like, did even the non Nathan Drake stuff just not really strike you in this, or was there anything that you took away being like, okay, I might enjoy this aspect of it a lot, or are you just kind of down on it all?
I'm not really down on it, but I hate to say that the Nathan Drake stuff that made it feel Nathan Drakey didn't come from the acting. It came from the moments they recreated from the games,
Mm-hmm.
more or less. And I feel like that's kind of a cop out. It's not necessarily them creating this great movie that's Uncharted, but it's them just taking moments that we recognize that have the Uncharted stamp, a signature on it, and just throwing it onto the big screen. That's where I kind of have a little bit of an issue. But like I said, I'm super excited for this movie. I don't want it to sound like
Wow.
I'm super negative. Like, I'm pumped to see the chemistry between Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg. I'm pumped to see whatever kind of spin that they have, because all these Uncharted games always have some kind of cool, super, not necessarily supernatural, but kind of like, cryptic kind of approach to it. Like, if you played the games, you know what I'm talking about. So I'm excited to see what kind of, you know, crazy entity is going to be in this. That's going to be like protecting the treasure. That's going to be a force to reckon with. So
Fresh Prince says Marky Mark is really throwing me off in the movie, to be honest. Lots of people said that too and said that he wasn't a good choice for Sully. Holland's all right. Getting past Spider-Man thing's going to be challenging, but overall looks like another decent video game movie. Uh, I agree on most of those. Another decent video game movie. We only have like
Monster
like
Hunter.
well, no,
So
I don't
good.
even think we have like a really good one. I think we just have fine, decent video game movies. Like, I guess you could say decent, but like, I don't think we have one where I'm like, that's real good. We're still waiting for that. Like, yes, not Sonic,
Oh,
not
Sonic,
Detective
yeah.
Pikachu. No, those are all still below the bar, in my opinion. Uh, Mark Wahlberg, he's a name. I get it. Spider-Man, it is tough because for me, I had that same thought, but then when I saw no, Bubs, it's not Sonic. Post credits shows Mark Wahlberg growing the mustache. It's just at an hour. It's just a day's worth. But yeah, and no, I suppose lots of people throw out Sonic. I don't think it's that. I think it's still very 2000 like 2-y. It feels so childish, and it just. I think it's just like I think I failed it when we did it. Or I don't know, but it's not to me what we don't have a great to good video game movie yet. And I don't think this is going to be it. I think this is going to be similar to Tomb Raider, which I think the Tomb Raider one they just did recently was the best one. I think it's just going to be, this just looks fine. As somebody that's always wanted to play the game, interested in the franchise, but I never had time, this didn't make me want to go anything more because yeah, I haven't done it yet, but there's still times where there's still things where something like The Boys, where big comic series, lots of people I knew nothing about, but the second I saw that trailer, I'm like, okay, I'm in this world. Let's see what we got. And then I watched it. This doesn't make me want to get in the world. I think it says it comes out in January, maybe, or February. I just don't like. I have no interest. I will not see this day one. This is just a waste of time. This is a movie that when it's on Netflix or wherever, I will watch it then. But what I was saying about Tom Holland is I thought that same thing about Spider-Man, but then I saw The Devil All the Time. That movie is not good. I don't care what the patrons say. It's not a good movie, but he's really good in it. But the problem is I feel like this is a bit too, it's varying in that edge, but at the same time, I feel like Sony's very much in the Tom Holland business and he is a name, right? So we'll see. Like I said, I'll check this out. The only way I'd go to theaters if it comes out and people just praise it to high heaven. But man, to me, the trailer, I don't think the trailer came out and it was bad. It just felt like a thought of like people like, okay, Uncharted. Then when it came up, you're like, oh, and people just moved right on. Like, I don't think this movie's gonna do that well. I don't think it like brought people in. It just looks like another movie, which we're gonna talk about Red Nose, like SBub said, but it looks like that, like it could be anything. Maddie asked, who would we have cast as Nathan Drake? I'm somebody that obviously haven't played the game, so but I got a good enough idea from seeing lots, trailers, cutscenes, things like that. I know everyone's gonna say Nathan Fillion, and I get it. Nathan Fillion's a go-to, but he still needs someone marketable. Maybe he's too old now, but like a few years ago, Oscar Isaac 100%, because I feel like he'd have that Nathan Drake charm. He has the adventure, like, and especially remember those first screenshots of him on Rise of Skywalker when they're on the planet where they find where Rey's parents were murdered, everything, and he had like that Uncharted getup. Everyone's like, "This is fucking Nathan Drake right there." 100%. Now, luckily, hopefully, if it all works out, he's going to be playing Solid Snake. But Nathan Drake would, I think he has that charm where I think it's tough because they're playing him younger, but Tom Holland has a boyish charm, which is a good thing to have. But I think Oscar Isaac has that like betting you like, oh man, like look at, like he's that guy that every guy wants to be and every girl wants to be with, or every guy wants to be with, doesn't even matter. Where Tom, I don't like, yeah, I want to be him for his money, and like he's a good looking dude, but I don't like, I'd pick to be Oscar Isaac any day over Tom Holland, even at that age. Like, look at him in Dune, like that's a man. And but that's the thing, they went with a different approach, right? I'm somebody that I think from day one they shouldn't have went with the young approach. I don't think that was, I know they're like, well, we're gonna tell stories before the movie, so it's not, nah. People like those stories from the game. Tell those stories and get other. It's like this. It's weird if you would be like, "Hey, you know Lord of the Rings and you know Hobbit. We're gonna tell new stories that happened before those. We don't want to tell the books because everyone knows those. No, not everyone knows the books, and not my mom, my sister have no idea the fucking plot of Uncharted. So they should have just remade it, in my opinion. Taylor, who do you have?
I have two that I would pitch. So my backup, my son number two would be Robbie Amell. Now,
Okay.
my number one would be, and maybe this is me being a little bit too nitpicky, but I feel like for this role, I feel like maybe his eyes are a little bit too
Oh
small.
no.
But
Oh
I would go with
no.
Scott Eastwood.
Oh no, he doesn't have the charisma. We talk about
Oh yeah,
Wolverine. He could not carry this. I don't know why you're a Scott Eastwood fan.
he could easily do it.
Red Notice. This is coming to Netflix in November. A week ahead, it's coming to theaters. I honestly, because I should have rewatched it before, and I didn't. This movie, I will definitely watch day one because I like The Rock. I love The Rock. I love Ryan Reynolds. Like Gal Gadot. What are you sending me right now? What are you sending me? A picture of Scott? What is that's this photo of Scott Eastwood on the beach is supposed to like make me think he could play Nathan Drake. He's just a good-looking guy. That's it. No. Um. Uh, I love The Rock. Love Ryan Reynolds. Really like Gal Gadot. This is one of these of like, if these people were not in this movie, I would not be watching it, but I will be excited. Now, I did think Hobbs and Shaw, Ryan Reynolds and The Rock didn't have the best chemistry in that, so I'm hoping it's better in this one. But like I said, it's an easy watch. I will not go to the theaters to see this one early. I'll watch it on Netflix, and it's one that if it sucks, easily can be doing something, make some popcorn, be on my phone, hang out with my fiance. Like even then, I don't think it's gonna be rated R. So it's one of these like give it a shot. If it sucks, oh well, it's not a big deal to me. So I was gonna watch this probably no matter what, just because who's in it. So the trailers being just fine, doesn't hurt or help me. I'd like it if I watched these trailers and was like, man, Red Nose looks like it's fucking awesome. But it just looks like, okay, it's a generic action movie that I'll like because the stars.
Yeah, honestly, this trailer came out a while ago, didn't it? Because I feel like I talked about it with Kirklin
You
prior.
did not watch the new trailer then.
There's a new trailer. That would explain it. I didn't realize there's a new trailer. Did you inform me there's a new trailer?
I just assumed you would understand because there's multiple trailers, but you know what? That's fine. Please tell me you watched the ambulance trailer.
The ambulance trailer?
Yes.
No, I didn't watch the ambulance trailer.
It's in the
Lead me into this.
notes.
It's in the notes. I didn't even get to like breeze through that to talk about the thumbnail. I saw Star Wars Ahsoka and then Batwoman. I'm like, these are like the key topics I got to focus on tonight.
Oh my! No, you gotta watch the trailer. That's what you're supposed to. The Batgirl and other stuff. Star Wars. You could talk about the drop of a dime. Oh my goodness! So I'm pretty sure. So it's a Michael Bay film. I had to check because I was hoping he wasn't directing it, but I'm pretty sure he is.
You're
But
gonna get
it
a
is.
live reaction from me then as you talk.
Well, that's all right. So it's starring Yahya Abdul Mateen II. I just like to call him Yahya because it's shorter and I don't got to trip over
Oh,
my words. But anyway, so yeah, he is directing animals. At first, when I saw it, because I saw this preview during Dune, and I was like, oh, maybe it's just a production produced by, but no, it's not. It's Yahya and Jake Gyllenhaal, and I will say because it's funny, we were talking about this a few weeks ago with Jake Gyllenhaal and Mysterio and Marvel and everything like that. I wish the performance he was giving here, he gave in the Mysterio one. And he does a little bit, but like that's what sold me. I love Heat. So I love heist movies. I like this type of we gotta get out of here with this amount of money this fast. And Yaya looks great. It's like these two adoptive brothers. I think they said something like his kid or wife needs surgery, so he needs the money. He's broke. And it's been I think a week since I saw this one, but I I do like some Michael Bay films. I love obviously some Bad Boys. I really enjoyed Pain and Gain. So there's some obviously Transformers in my opinion are kind of dirt. But this movie actually, I was probably always gonna check it out. I always was joking at Rock and Hard Place because it's those two. But then like Michael Bay, so I was like, But the trailer sold me enough of like, I think I'm going to enjoy just their dinner. And especially Jake Gyllenhaal. There's this great moment where he's like pretending to do the bank teller and he's talking to the cop. Like he looks like he's doing the way Clive Owen acted a little bit in what is it was just the bank job, was it that was it Michael Mann did that one? Or am I completely tripping over it? Oh, someone will know in the chat. What is the one with Denzel Washington and Clive Owen? It has a really fun twist at the end, but it's a very smart movie. I don't think you're gonna get that with this, but the action looked good, and Jake Gyllenhaal just looked like I love him playing as a villain because I really love what he did in Nightcrawler. He should have won an Academy Award for that. I cannot find this movie for the life of me because it was the early 2000s. It was The Inside Man, right? I know it was probably Spike Lee, wasn't it? It was Spike Lee, yeah. So I mixed those up. But yeah, I am looking forward to this actually. I didn't think I would be, but you know what? I am. So Taylor Field, did you watch it with even sound on? How was your experience there?
I actually did watch the trailer already. I did not know it was called Ambulance.
Okay.
So that clears
Terrible
that up. So
title.
well, I mean, it does make sense. I mean, obviously, like they spend time in the ambulance, but it definitely was a trailer that just had so many shots reminiscent of the late Transformer films of the Michael Bay era. So I
Great.
feel like Michael Bay is great at doing action shots. There's definitely not like
Yes.
explosions out of the wazoo in this movie, apparently, but I'm 100% down. Jake Gyllenhaal just seems so charismatic in this. Like you said, that scene where he's like pretending to be the bank teller. He like leans out the door, and it's like, if I was a cop, I totally would have felt safe and would have left. I wouldn't have gone in. Like, he sold me.
But then there's scenes where he looks like really unhinged, and that's what I'm liking. But
Oh,
then
as soon as the cop walks in, it's like, oh, he fucking just did the dirty.
I like later on in the trailer that he's like, "Oh, we're not the bad guys. We're doing this." So I feel like there's actually somehow going to be a lot of layers to this character, and I'm down to see like a great Jake Gyllenhaal performance. It's been not a while. I'm not trying to shit on the guy. I just mean like I can't remember
Fucking
last time.
terrible Mysterio,
No, he
horrible
wasn't terrible.
performance.
I thought when we got Jake Gyllenhaal, that was a certified like he's gonna be a top tier guy, and he's fine. He's in the B tier. That's a great tier to be in. But I thought he would be the same way we talk about Michael Keaton and as Vulture. I thought we'd be like, man, Jake Gyllenhaal. We're really it's like we really like those Mysterio scenes, eh? So, anything else on Ambulance?
Negative.
Let's take our last ad break, and then we're gonna talk a little Dune and some success or lack thereof. Who knows? So we'll be right back.
Dune already. Deja vu.
Well, now we're talking about the sequel a little bit. We'll talk about the actual box office and the streaming numbers because I'm sure you haven't seen the streaming numbers for Doom yet. The
I have been
estimated one.
oblivious to it all.
There you go. And then I am writing you down all the ad breaks and cutouts so you can do those all tonight. So that I know I got when Batgirl happens, everything like that. So you're all set. So I can go play Guardians because should have been playing a long time ago, but here we are. Now here I am, still here.
Mhm.
And we're back. Now let's talk about Dune. So we did our review. Check that out again. Thank you very much. I have to check the stats. There's not even a chance I might have crossed Loki. So who knows? That'd be very impressive. But so for our um review yesterday, we talked a lot about the sequel and things we would want, and we talked about like could we get it now. I'm gonna pull the box office, everything like that, but it opened with 41 million, so it's about 10-ish million more than Blade Runner 2049, which was obviously like the one that was like, okay, costs a lot, but uh, it didn't make what they were wanting. So I'm going to pull the budget here and what it's made so far. So right now it has a budget of 165 million and it's a box of 223 million. So I'm going to pull up Blade Runner 24/9, but you have to look at we've always talked about before. Marketing budgets can always be sometimes double, sometimes triple. So we usually use double as like a has to make double to kind of just make or just make its money back, right? So right now, Blade Runner, right now it's not making any more money. Don't worry, folks. But Blade Runner made 259 million overall. So that's a good sign as far as like in its first weekend, it's like 30 million away from Blade Runner, which was considered like a flop. It had a pretty much same budget, 150 to 185 million. So there's two reports that came out today. There's the streaming numbers as well, and then also why there hasn't been a sequel announced. Apparently, of course, Denis wants to do it. Warner Brothers wants to do it, but Legendary, who produced the film, who financed the film, they're the ones that are holding on because obviously these are expensive movies. I'm pretty sure they did Blade Runner. Dune's an expensive movie. That Fortnite collab doesn't come cheap, says Bubs. Yeah, it doesn't. But so it's up to them, and it makes sense because I'm going to ask you that question in a second. But I guess no, I'll start with you this where how like honestly we love Dune and we want more and it could be this new franchise whatnot, but you taking what you thought about the film and from a business side, you have a film that right now has to still make quite a bit of money just to kind of break even. If this movie doesn't break even or does it if it just matches the break even, do you take a risk again? Because obviously like this in itself was a risk because Blade Runner flopped and it's like, okay, well, we're going to give them Dune. And then the pandemic hurts it as well. But still, it's not flop yet. We have to see word of mouth and how it does. But if it does get to a point where it just kind of breaks even, like as a studio or as a business person, how do you feel about the risk of do we do this? Because I will say for you, as far as maybe to help your decision, I will tell you this. I'll walk it back. I'll just to help your decision because they would know this. Samba TV, they're the ones that report all like a lot of the HBO Max streaming numbers and whatnot. You want to guess in the top 10 where Dune came in for its opening weekend for streaming numbers? So all HBO Max movies from Wonder Woman last year to now, where do you think it is as far as like a top 10 in the rankings?
Top 10?
Yeah.
Probably like probably down at around 6 to 7.
So it was, I think it was 4. So
Oh, okay.
You have Mortal Kombat at number 1, and this is just the opening weekend from the Friday to Sunday through Sunday. That was 3.8 million. After that was Suicide Squad with 2.8 million. I still don't understand how more than a million people watch Mortal Kombat than Suicide Squad, but I digress. And then after that was Wonder Woman 1984 with 2.2 million. After that was Space Jam with 2.1, and then was Dune. So it was the top 5. So it was the fifth in top 5 place. What was I going to say? And even then, if you look at the number 5th as of the ratings, 1.9 million. Zack Snyder's Justice League had 1.8. So it's just a little bit above Zack Snyder. So it's a top 5. So it's like that's good. It's a top 5 streamer, but it's not like what we were talking about. Like, okay, if this comes out and it's like number 1, it's breaking all HBO Max records, then it'd be like, okay, maybe the box office is a little to be desired, but people are loving it on streaming. Let's go. So it kind of seems like with both box office and streaming that it's doing good, but does it do good enough to warrant a sequel? So you're legendary, like I said, put aside your liking of the film. Do you think we will get some announcement here soon? And like, would you personally like? Do you think it's worth the risk to try? Because obviously these are like almost a $200 million movie. These are like Marvel Star Wars budgets, and those usually like have like their opening weekends usually make like 100 million or something like that, or like even Shang-Chi or like Venom. Venom made 90 million, something like that, and that does not have the budget of this. So, what do you think? Like how do you kind of think about the potential of now that we have some results of Dune as a sequel actually happening?
So a part of me thinks that it's high still. I really do think it's high. I think Warner Brothers sees the potential in this because it's got like the cult following and everything. And I think that's where it has to really kind of separate where, okay, is Warner Brothers going to see only the cult following kind of supporting this, or is it going to be more the GA? And I think they definitely want the GA. And I do believe the GA is there supporting this. The thing that really hit them badly was that the film leaked ahead of time
Yeah,
online, and
like
that
all
of
5 days
course,
before.
yeah, that obviously greatly affected their HBO Max numbers. Obviously hit them in the theater as well. Like it hits everyone everywhere, and it's not a good time. So I think if it didn't leak, the numbers probably would have justified this movie being like probably top 4 to 3 maybe on HBO
Yeah,
Max.
because and you're right, that definitely could be the case. It is just so like when you look at and these numbers aren't exact because HBO Max doesn't release them, so it could be like a little higher, a little lower, but it still kind of has that same thing for me. Like when I start to worry, is if you look at these numbers and let's say they're completely true, and you go, well, I don't know. Like, is it the fact that Space Jam did better for me? Like, I guess there's two counters. Like, that's a family movie, so it could do better. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, but it's fucking Space Jam. Like, I know, like, we liked the movie and all, but it's just still like, I expected to do even a little bit better. Even then, like the Justice League, like for it to just do like a 0.1 better. It's like, I expected a little bit more. Obviously, these numbers aren't exact, and it's just tough because it's what you say though. Like they see the potential, but the problem is it's just potential. Like the potential, there's no guarantee, and there's no guarantee with any movie, right? But it's like you put out Aquaman, it makes $1 billion. Well, clearly we're gonna do number 2 because the biggest DC movie, so it's not like a stamp. And even then, there's other movies where it's just like, okay, there's a stamp, we did it. People would ironically watch Space Jam, yeah, and but that's the thing. Even if it does, they're just people in suits, right? So many times they're not gonna say like, oh, are people watching for a meme or having fun with it? It's like, oh, well, this made more, so or people more watched it, and it's. I think it really depends. There's the Last Night in Soho is coming out this week, which is good because I think it fits with the horror vibe of the holiday, but I don't think it's like a mass. It's rated R, and I don't think it's like a massive like ticket pusher. So I feel like Dune gets one more week before Eternals comes out because Eternals going to come up and just gobble everything up. So I feel this like with a lot of the movies, it's going to be very interesting that second week. If the word of mouth is really good and you can keep it to like a strong second week, I think that's the sign, and maybe that's what they're waiting for. But if it kind of plummets or does like a big drop, that's tough because, like I said, I don't think Last Night in Soho should really be taking that much away. If this is such like a movie of the generation, epic movie, people should be out there seeing it, but maybe they're just watching at home. I don't know. It's a tough call. SBUB says well by the end of the year we'll either get a yes or no. Do you agree with that? Do you think they will?
I think they would have to. If we got no word on it, like come to going into the new year, I feel like okay, are they indecisive? Like it's not a good sign. I feel like we'd have to get something.
Do you maybe it's harsh to me, but do you feel like if we don't hear something in the next month, it's like I guess because we on that review we talked about that okay, they're doing the Ben and Gessery series and stuff like that. That's on HBO Max, but that hasn't filmed, that hasn't gone in production. You could clearly, and Denis was to direct the pilot. He's not the showrunner. That could easily fall apart. The same way Denis and Warner Brothers like had arguments over it going to theater and streaming, right? Easily, we get in a month, they could say, "Hey, we're not doing that. We're not doing the series. It just dead until it's filming." Doesn't mean it's happening. So do you think it's wrong for me? For I personally was hoping that we would wake up Monday morning to, you know what, because of the success of this and this, we're excited to do Dune 2, and here we go. I feel like after that second weekend, and it's like a week from them, if we don't hear anything, and I suppose it's right. The next month is pretty much by the end of the year. But like I took it as like even if this movie opened in summer, I'm expecting like in the next month to like you usually you hear something, and the Variety article pointed this out. Wonder Woman comes out, right? And it has $16 million opening. And it is Warner Brothers' best openings like in the pandemic era, but Dune is. But it has this, only $60 million opening because not many theaters are open. And then it has like, oh, most watched movie, HBO Max at that point. What happened on that Sunday? We're doing Wonder Woman 3. That's different because it's DC and you have that guarantee, but still, you sometimes announce the sequel just so you go, oh, well, we got to go see that first one. They're making a second one. Clearly, people like it. If you don't within these next weeks get that, oh, we're making a Dune 2, it feels like there's like less of a push. And it's tough because like not only could they be losing money, it's also the pandemic. They could have lost money, multiple marketing strategies. And it's just, like I said, in the next 2 weeks, that's probably a little hard of me. But I just feel like if we don't hear something, I worry a bit, Taylor. I worry. Like I said, should I, is 2 weeks or a month? Is that too much of an amendment to put on? Like, oh, we got to hear something by, November 25th or Dune is dead in the water?
I don't want to say dead in the water, but I mean it goes to show other Warner Brother projects. Yeah, DC, of course, they're pretty quick to say and rally to their support and be like, "Hey, we're gonna do more of this." So I
Well,
hope for his sake he gets more.
well, and my other like counterpoint of myself is the fact that it did like fine enough in theaters, but you look at these HBO Max numbers for Mortal Kombat, and they always say it's the most watched movie. We've heard rumors, but they've never officially come out and said Mortal Kombat 2 is happening yet. Like we've not heard a single
Well, we
official
know
thing.
we're getting the series, right?
Well, no, they've talked about doing the cinematic. That's been
Mm.
reports and trades, but they've not dated a movie or series or anything being like, hey, the Scorpion series comes out next year. Like, and that's what's interesting is you'd think I've been waiting for that official word of like, hey, Mortal Kombat's happening. But I don't know if that's not happening, if Dude's not happening, it's just DC all around. So anything else
Yeah.
on this?
Negative.
All right. Well, we did it. Nice newscast. Hope you, ladies and gentlemen, enjoyed that. We'll be back in a couple days. I think the day after that, you'll get like a Marvel classic review, just kind of kicking us up to Eternals and stuff like that. So we're putting those out, people enjoying them. And then we'll do another newscast. Me and Kirk will be reviewing Last Night in Soho. And then, yeah, next week will be big as well because there'll be Eternals and the extra live stream, which is crazy. So thank you very much for tuning in. And when you hear from us next, it'll not be boring.
Bye bye.